What's up, guys? Darkin back with another video. I wanted to add a quick clip in here just because there's two things I actually figured out after I got done recording the video. So first and foremost, the show actually came out 2 days ago now. At the time of filming those other clips, it was the day prior. It came out on the 24th. So just keep that in mind. That's why there's not that much information out. I wasn't really sure of that when I recorded those first clips, but now I know. So I want to add that in there as well. And then lastly, I've got the cast right here now in my notes. So Christoph Waltz plays Regis Petov, and Nat Wolff plays Craig Horn, and Brittany O'Grady plays Elaine Heyman. So if those are some of the actors you like, obviously the big name Christoph Waltz, one of my favorite actors. So if that's somebody you like, make sure to check out the rest of this video and furthermore, the show possibly. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another video. I know this is not my usual gaming video, but I had to make a video on this. So I've been watching a little bit of shows this weekend. Started out with Outer Banks season 3. If you guys enjoy the first 2 seasons, it's not too bad. It's a good one. I think it's on Netflix. This show that we're talking about in today's video is a Prime Video. Prime Video show. Okay, there's 8 episodes if you're not aware. And some of the actors that I noticed right off the bat was Christopher Waltz. He's the main character, pretty much. Nat Wolff and Brittany O'Grady, if you know who that is. Okay. Now, what I'll go ahead and say is right now is turn off this video if you don't want to see spoilers. Okay, or hear spoilers really, because I'm not gonna be showing any clips because I don't want to get copyright. Okay, so I got the basically like the thumbnail from their show pretty much. So obviously I don't know if that's gonna get copyrighted. I don't think so, but not too sure. I guess we'll find out. I was gonna just blow up my camera for the entire purposes of the video, but I realized that my camera's 1080p is not quite 1080p for some reason, and when you expand it, it's just not. I don't really know why that is, but here we are. So camera's minimized, and you get that picture of the console. And I would just recommend putting your phone down and just kind of listening, because again, it's just going to be my camera and me talking about the show for about 10 minutes. So I've gotten halfway through the show, four episodes in. There's 8 episodes in this first season. Okay, I've heard they're going to be making another season possibly, but let me tell you, man, bomb show, right? So I was scrolling looking for a show, and I see Christopher Waltz, and I was like, okay, this is something I'm interested in. He's a great actor. Lately, I've been watching a lot of his films. He always puts on a great show. So I'm like, all right, let's check it out. I open it up, right? And it like I said, spoilers. Here they come. First episode in, it's a gaming company, okay, and the characters you're introduced are the head CEO's basically assistant, and a coder that is her friend that works downstairs. Okay, the assistant of the CEO brings up some kids who are essentially on a field trip to the CEO's office and walks out, right? Well, all of a sudden you hear freaking gunshots. It's crazy. Like, it starts off like that. You hear gunshots, right? Like 3 or 4 of them. They go running up there, the assistant and the coder, and they find one of the school kids has a gun and has shot the CEO like 3 or 4 times and killed him. Okay. It cuts scene there, so you don't really know what happened to the kid immediately. You just know that guy's dead for sure, right? They cut scene to the next scene, and they say, yeah, okay, the boss he died. And apparently the kid said the devil made him do it. Okay, the devil made him kill that guy. All right, that's what you hear. So right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is gonna be good, right? I'm like, okay, maybe they're gonna lead this down some cool path, right? Well, I'm waiting, and then all of a sudden you get introduced to this new character the next day. Okay, essentially Christopher Waltz, right, comes in as the consultant. Okay. He's essentially, let me see, I have some notes here. Where is it? He's going to be playing, let's see. Sorry, hold on 1 second. All right, well, I don't have the character's name exactly, but essentially he's the consultant, okay? Again, I've just watched these 4 episodes just now, so I'm sorry. I don't remember all the characters' names, but Christopher Waltz plays the consultant, all right? So he comes in the next day after the boss dies. It kind of looks like presumably the next day. It could be a week or 2, maybe even. It just kind of depends. I'm not quite sure. They don't really allude to that, right? But he basically comes in and says, hey, I was hired by the CEO to make this company better, right? Like to make it run better, make it make more money, and things like that. And so the assistant and the coder happen to just be in the workplace, right? They're kind of like reminiscing as they believe they're about to get laid off, and the company's going to get separated and sold off, right? Well, they are talking to this guy who like barges in here while everyone else is out, like no one else is there. It's closed down. And he's like, yeah, we're going to start regular business back up tomorrow. Like we're starting tomorrow. They're pretty confused, right? They're like, well, where did you come from? Like our boss just died. We don't understand. We've never seen you before. Like what's up? And so he presents them with a contract. Okay. A contract that says he's been hired to consult and he's basically in charge of of the old CEO boss best interests for the company, right? So he's essentially the new boss, all right? And right away, he puts off a really weird vibe. Like he goes around smelling the employees, right? Like he's like looking for a smell, right? Because he gets like a catch of a bad smell he doesn't like, and he's looking for that smell to essentially then he finds that smell and he fires that guy. He's like, "All right, you're fired. You stink. Like you fired." Right, and I'm like, oh, whoa, like, that's crazy. But that guy's job ends up getting saved because the assistant, blah blah blah, ends up like, essentially telling him, hey, take a bath. I don't know if he's afraid of baths or what. This guy, I don't really know. They don't really allude to that, right? But he takes a bath in the workplace. He doesn't really actually get fired, but he pulls another stunt pretty quickly after that. He's like, hey, everyone that is teleworking, you have 1 hour to be here or you're fired, right? So they're just like running to the building. And there's one lady who doesn't make it. She's a wheelchair person. And he's like, nope, she didn't make it on time. She's fired. I don't care. And like, I was like, oh shit. Like he's got no chill for this lady. Like he doesn't care. Right. And I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting. So he hasn't really gotten sinister yet. All right. To this point. Now, I will tell you, this next part is graphic when you see it. But basically, right, the assistant and the coder are combing through these hidden cameras that they had installed previously for the old CEO because he thought the cleaning people were stealing shit from him. I don't know. But they're going through this camera footage and they find that it is the consultant, the new CEO boss, whatever you want to call him, really, Christopher Waltz, and the old boss, and they're meeting, right? So they're like, oh, okay, they're meeting. This is where he signed the deal. Well, after he signs that deal, right, the old CEO, essentially Christopher Waltz is still standing off to the side in the room, right? And the old CEO is like sitting in his chair. He gets up, gets out of his chair, walks over to Christopher Waltz. He like unbuttons his pants and bro, he goes to town. Like my man was getting skull fucked. All right, he was getting it was terrible. Like it was crazy. I was like, what? Whoa, like okay, I don't understand this. Like why is this here? Why is this part of this, right? And so I'm like confused. But they throw that in there, so just get ready for that. I was really confused by that. I was like, okay, I'm not quite sure like why that was, why is that part of the script? I don't understand, but that's there. All right. So then fast forward a little bit, and the mom of the old boss, Mr. Sang's, so the Sang mom, right, comes in from South Korea to essentially, presumably, sell the company off and, get some money, right? And Christopher Waltz calls in the assistant at 3 a.m., right? Because he knows that the woman is coming over, from South Korea to probably do this. Is what you presume, right? And so he calls her in and he's like, hey, you told me you're a problem solver. This lady's coming in at 3 a.m. Like she's about to be here in an hour. She lands at LAX in an hour. I need you to do something about it. And she's like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, I am me, like I'm nobody, and you want me to what? Stop at 745, or sorry, a 777 airplane. Like, what do you want me to do? It's a commercial airliner. Like, there's nothing I can do here. I'd sip my drink, but yeah. So she's like, yeah, there's nothing I can do here. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, right? So it's kind of weird. You don't really understand it. He's pretty he's pretty evil sounding. Like when he says these things to people. And he's very direct, right? He'll be like, yes, I want you to do this. And then if they're like, well, I can't do this, he'll just be like, click, hang up. Like, okay, I expect it done anyway. It's kind of weird, right? Moving forward. Then it gets kind of weird, right? Because basically the assistant is trying to locate the mom of the late CEO or whatever, and she cannot find her anywhere. Like the hotel that she was supposed to get checked in on, gone. The last person to see her was the consultant Christopher Waltz. And so it's presumably that he killed her, right, to prevent her from, breaking up the company. But then they find that apparently the mom got on a plane back to South Korea. Apparently, she was on the manifest. But again, I don't really know where they find this from. Like I don't know where you're finding a manifest of an airplane. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so that's the next thing they presume. Okay. And we're getting kind of close to the end of the synapse for the 4 episodes that I've watched so far, but. Next, we move into a weird part where essentially the CEO likes this game, right? The consultant, right? He likes this game that the coder has been creating for a while, trying to pitch to his old boss, and his old boss was like, nah. But it's a simple game like about some animals falling on glass, and if if that the animals are heavy, if they're too heavy, they'll break through glass. If they're not too heavy, they stay on the glass. Okay. So the consultant's like, yeah, this is a great idea. This is awesome. This is the bee's knees. This is perfect. Let's do this, right? And so they kind of start bonding a little bit, and so the coder guy is like, hey, let's go get a beer, right? Like he's like, oh, let's get a beer, and the consultant's like, oh yeah, give me 5 minutes, I'll be ready. Okay, so they go out, they're getting like standard side draft pitchers, right? And they're sitting there, and it's already weird, right? Like they sit down, and the consultant's like, hey, how many people in here do you think we could take on, right? Like that's okay, you could say that. You could be like, yeah, we're having drinks. How many people? But no, he's like looking at him like strict, like, how many of these people do you think we can fucking kill? Like, right? And so the freaking coder's like, like, you're kidding, right? And he's looking like, I think I could take 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7 if I got him by surprise. And he's like, nah, I'm just joshing you, man. Like, I'm just kidding. Drink your beer. And the coder's just like, he's kind of freaked out now. He's like, oh, I think I'm going to go. I'm going to get out of here. Like, my wife, fiance. He's like, my fiance is like, doesn't have a key to the house. Like, right? And then so the consultant's like, no, don't be silly. Drink your beer, right? Like in a really, really like stern man. He puts his hand on his back, like, drink your beer. So he's probably like, okay, all right, fine, I guess, right? So then they almost finished, and so freaking the consultant's like, all right, this is where it got even crazier, right? He's like, all right, you've taken me somewhere, now I'm gonna take you somewhere. And he looked at him like that. He's like, I'm gonna take you somewhere. And I was like, oh man, like he's about to either you do what he did to that other guy, like skull fuck him, or he's about to like take it to some weird place. Like this is about to be weird. Okay, but no, they go to this like exclusive club where the coder had to put on a suit. Mind you, the consultant literally wears a suit always. He's always wearing a suit. But the coder, he comes to work like any other crypto bro or whatever, like in basically what I'm wearing right now in my house. He comes to work like this in a sweatshirt and like pants. So he has to change into some nice suit, and they go in this freaking like really nice nightclub, right? The weirdest thing about the nightclub is, mind you, he goes to the bar and he's like, hey, what do you got on tap? They're like, oh, we pick a color. Like right there, I'm like, what? Like, I'm not picking a color. No, tell me what that is. I'm not drinking something. I have no idea what it is. But basically, there's colors. There's like blue, red, and like green or some shit, or blue and red. So he's like, give me 2 blues. I'm right off the bat. I'm like, dude, what? I'm not drinking random liquids I don't know about. Like, I just got brought here by this weird dude, and now I'm just gonna drink the liquids. But he drinks them though, and he brings them over to the table, and he meets this essentially prosthetic girl. Right? It's kind of weird. She has some prosthetics, and that plays into it too, because I left out one part where essentially they look up this consultant, and apparently he's consulted at other firms where the CEOs mysteriously died right before he came in. So they kind of starting to establish a little bit of a connection. All right. So he meets this girl. He's chatting it up with her. She leaves. By the time he gets back from the bathroom, excuse me, and essentially they carry on with their night a little bit, right? And they're about to wrap it up, it looks like, and the consultant's like, hey buddy, like you hang out here, I gotta go take care of something real quick, like yeah. And he's like, but it'll be faster if you help me. You want to come help? The guy's like, yeah, sure, whatever, sure. Well, they go down their Hummer, they're waiting, and all of a sudden a body gets like loaded in there, dude, in a sheet, like all bundled up. She's screaming. Well, you don't even know if it's a she at that point. You just hear a person screaming. Okay. And so the freaking coder's like freaking out, like, bro, I didn't sign up for this. Like, oh no, I'm not freaking kidnapping somebody. Like, what the heck? Like, no, let me out. Da 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 da. Christopher Waltz is just his normal self, like smiling, like, no, it's okay. Like, you're in for it. You signed up for this. This is what you're gonna do now. Da 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 da. Like they're driving, right? And he's like, who is this? Like, who is this, right? And then he's basically like, oh, it doesn't matter. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. Da, da, da. And they keep going, and then he eventually is like, yeah, it's the kid that killed our boss. Like we're gonna essentially avenge our boss, right? And he's like, he's just a kid. It's not his fault. Da 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 da. It's video games. It's his parents. It's the freaking system. It's like all this shit, right? And Christopher Waltz is like, nope, it's his fault. it's his fault, right? So, and then We're getting towards the end here, and essentially they get to a gas station. They have to get some gas because they're driving like an H1 Hummer, dude. Like that thing is terrible on gas. I know it is, right? And while Christopher Waltz goes in to get some beers, right? The decoder goes in the back and cuts open the sack and finds that it's that same girl from the bar. Okay. And she's like, where am I? Da, 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 da. He tells her, oh, you're in Long Beach. Unties her, lets her out. As she's getting out, she says something like, if you want to know what he's made of, see this guy, right? And the guy, he's like, oh, whoa, right? And then she runs off. Mind you, she's got a prosthetic leg and a prosthetic arm. So, like, she's running on, like, one of those, it's like not a pogo stick, but I don't know how to explain it. But it's a prosthetic leg, right? She's running away, and Christopher Waltz comes back, hands him his beer, and he says, like, oh, this was a test. That girl, that's my friend. She's got a drug problem. And he's saying this, like, all nonchalant, just like me. He's like, yeah, she got a drug problem. We're just trying to get her to a ship to get her back home so she can continue her program. Like, okay, you bundled her up in a sheet and all that. Like, that's kind of sus. But anyway, he keeps going on to that, and he's like, well, this was a test, like, for your loyalty to our old boss. Like, this, that. And he's like, and yeah, now I know I can't trust you, right? And so it's like, okay, all right. And then he leaves him there with his beer and drives off. He leaves him at the gas station, okay? Now, we're finishing off here with the final thing. So he essentially, the coder, right, the next day, he's still wearing his suit, and he decides he's going to go back and get his clothes, okay, from this club, because he essentially changed up in the club, obviously, right outside the door, because he couldn't get in like this, right? They weren't going to let him in as a bum. So he gets his clothes, he changes, he's back in his regular clothes, and he goes to that door because now it's midday. He wants to look in there, and no one's at the door. No one's guarding it. He opens the door, and it's like, it's a library. It doesn't even look like a club at all. It's nothing like, and it's like a complete, it's full of shit. Like, it's crazy. So it leaves off there, and it's kind of weird. It starts presenting these things, and it starts making you think. I really think that potentially at the end of this, when I watch it in the next 4 episodes, that Christopher Waltz might be like the devil or something, like something crazy. I don't know, like, or he's like an evil something, right? Like, I feel like that's probably what this is, like, right? Like, my boss is this evil genius or some shit, like something like that, right? That's what it feels like. But what I will say is, I recommend you check this out. Okay, I recommend you watch this show if you need a show to watch on Amazon Video, Prime Video. Check it out. All right, it's been pretty good so far to episode 4. I really can't complain. That's why I wanted to make this video, because I was looking online for comments and information about this show, and there's just none available. I think it's because it's pretty new, but there's just none available, right? So that's why I wanted to put this out here. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know down below. Hit that like button, subscribe, as well as check out my gaming videos. Check out all the other videos on the channel. And yeah, if you guys have any questions about the series so far, I'm sure by the time I post this video, I'll have already finished the other 4 episodes. Maybe I'll come out with another video if this one does well and you guys are more interested on the other half of the season. I will do so. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.